I'm a bit lost for words with kind of where we are now and where we're going. Is there a bottom line, and do you have a bottom line as to what you're willing to implement? Because it appears to me that you don't, and your government doesn't. I asked the Taoiseach today, were there circumstances in which civil disobedience was acceptable, because he clearly accepted that it was acceptable in Belarus. He didn't answer. I don't expect that you're going to say what your bottom line is, and if you did tell me what it was, I don't expect you to adhere to it, because last October you told us very clearly that you weren't going to bring in legislation that penalised masses in public. You did. The day you told us you wouldn't, you did. You had signed it that day. You told us a couple of weeks ago, when you were renewing the emergency provisions, that you didn't expect that you'd use them. You hoped that you wouldn't use them, and you didn't envisage using them. And here we are today, because they didn't go far enough to provide for what you plan to do, which is to discriminate on the basis of vaccine status. The Taoiseach, in response to Deputy Connolly, assured everybody that it would be non-coercive and it'd be about informed consent. But this is about coercion. This is not about protection, because this time last year, when we had nobody vaccinated, indoor dining was open. On the basis, I never bought the argument about a substantial meal for bars, but certainly for restaurants. I mean, on the basis that people enter as a group, tend to stay in their own group, they're seated at a certain distance apart, and they stay for a finite period of time because restaurants want to get in another sitting. So that didn't lead to any great increase in infections last year. But this year, we need more measures. We need to discriminate against those who are not vaccinated. Now, what will it be next year? Because you see, if you had listened to people on the internet or on social media last year predicting this, you say, there goes a conspiracy theorist. But it's come to pass. So now I just wonder, what will you introduce next? The one thing I know is that human rights will not be a consideration. Democracy, even, because you will get your minions. They'll do whatever they have to do to keep the party whip. So there will be no let up until the next election. That much is clear. But I'll make you a prediction. At the next election, we will have COVID. We will have a variant that is coming in from somewhere, a variant that we're very concerned about. A variant that is probably, because by definition the next variant, if it's to overtake the last one, has to be more infectious. So a variant that will be more infectious than the Delta variant. And we will have a lot more restrictions. We'll have a lot more discrimination. We'll possibly have discrimination for access to education. But we won't have gotten rid of COVID. But what we will have done is removed all personal choice. Because I've been in probably too many bars in my life, some restaurants, and I've never been press-ganged into any of them or dragged into any of them against my will. You know, I've left bars because I didn't feel comfortable in them for various reasons. And that is still a possibility for people. So when are you going to allow personal choice? When are people going to be able to assume the risk that is proportionate to them and their circumstances? Because you cannot regulate society to death in a vain attempt to prevent death, because you won't prevent death, unfortunately, nor will you prevent this pandemic spreading, unfortunately. Thank you.
Should this bill be passed, it's my view that we'll have taken a sensible and balanced approach to the challenges still posed by COVID-19. With regards to the hospitality sector, I believe the bill achieves the best possible balance between what is a very understandable desire on the part of the sector and the public to resume normal activities, and the very sound principles of public health and the public health advice which we have. And can I say, I acknowledge the concerns raised by deputies around how quickly this has been brought through. This is not how we normally conduct business in the Oireachtas. We all know that. It is solely, Ceann Comhairle, in response to a very rapidly moving variant that we also have to move